In this video, I want to talk to you about 4 common mistakes people make when going gluten-free. I'm also going to give you 4 alternative ingredient ideas for your gluten-free diet. Hello, I'm Mike Hines from JustNoGluten.com. When first going gluten-free, it can seem like gluten is hidden in everything. Even ice cream, restaurant scrambled eggs and French fries are all suspect. But that doesn't mean that you have to give up all of your favorite foods entirely. Making a mistake and how you deal with it when it comes to eating gluten-free will depend on how serious your condition is and what you eat. Eating the wrong food could land you in hospital, and that's not really what you want. So it's important you do what you can to make sure you live a life full of fruits and vegetables and the right kind of gluten-free foods. It doesn't really matter if the reason you're eating gluten-free has to do with an allergy or it has to do with health reasons. Things will be much easier to handle when you can avoid these common mistakes. You'll find when you eat the right foods, that's gluten-free foods, your health issues also improve. One of the biggest mistakes people make when it comes to eating a gluten-free diet is the actual foods they eat. A lot of people feel gluten is simply wheat, and that's not the case, but they still feel and think that they can eat almost anything and still be healthy and happy. Wheat is not the only ingredient that has gluten, and when you're not aware of this, you may just find yourself getting very ill. Another big mistake that's often made is when people think they'll lose weight on a gluten-free diet. Yes, you can lose weight, and plenty of people do, but it's not going to be that easy. A gluten-free diet is not a panacea for weight loss. Making something gluten-free also doesn't mean it is lowering calories. In fact, sometimes it ends up containing more calories than the gluten-containing version of the food. Understanding this principle is extremely important. Fast food restaurants are another mistake people make when it comes to gluten-free eating. It's very important to note that there's always a risk of cross-contamination. For those of us with celiac disease or a heightened gluten sensitivity or a wheat allergy, it's probably best to avoid fast food unless the restaurant has items sealed to specifically prevent gluten cross-contamination. One last common gluten-free eating mistake that's made has to do with junk food. There are a lot of candies, cakes, etc. that are gluten-free you can eat to overcome your sweet tooth. While it's great that you've found a food you can have, it's not worth the weight gain because of the amounts you'll eat. Not only can a mistake cause health issues when it comes to not eating the right gluten-free foods, but it can also cause you to feel bloated or even to put on weight. Neither of these you want to deal with, so it's best to avoid these mistakes. When you eat what you know you can eat, and you avoid the foods that could potentially cause you harm, you'll feel much better about yourself and you won't struggle with your weight or your mental well-being. Don't run the risk when you can make a few lifestyle changes and eat the right food. If you find you can't purchase foods to eat because of the ingredients in them, it's important to know what ingredients you can use as substitutes so you can still enjoy the foods you like. There are a lot of ways to go when it comes to substituting gluten foods for gluten-free foods. Here are just a few suggestions for you to consider when you are making your favorite meals. When you're making your next salad, consider using gluten-free oats, nuts, fiber cereal or crushed flax instead of croutons. You can have all the lettuce, tomatoes and cucumbers as you want, and when adding gluten-free salad dressing and one of these substitutes, you'll have the perfect salad. Sometimes pasta is a hard one for gluten-free eaters to handle. Spaghetti, macaroni salad, chicken alfredo and lasagna are just a few of the pasta dishes you're probably wishing for. You can substitute pasta with eggplant, spaghetti squash, rice noodles or polenta and still have the ability to have the pasta dishes. Now some of you may not have heard of polenta before, so I will give you a brief rundown on what it is and where it comes from. Polenta is a great gluten-free substitute for pasta. Polenta is similar to grits, but it's a lot smoother once it's done cooking. It's made by mixing cornmeal with water or milk and stirring constantly over low heat. Although it can be eaten plain, it's best when it's topped with vegetables, protein, sauce or cheese. It's originally from northern Italy. Polenta has risen in popularity across Europe and the United States. What was once a food associated with peasants can now be found on upmarket restaurant menus around the world. Sandwiches are another difficult one for gluten-free eaters to handle. These make great for lunches or mid-afternoon snacks, but they aren't possible unless you find substitutes for the bread. You can also use lettuce leaves, corn tortilla shells or brown rice tortilla shells in place of bread. Or you can look for gluten-free bread at your natural grocery store. Pizza is another difficult meal for those that must eat gluten-free. They now make pizza sauce that's gluten-free and gluten-free cheese, so all you really need to do is substitute the pizza crust with mashed potatoes, or search for a recipe that gives you the ability to make your own crust. Either way, you'll find one of these two options will make for the best gluten-free pizza around. Flour is another difficult one that's hard to deal with because it's used in so many foods. You have breaded chicken, breaded onion rings, cakes and cookies, to name just a few. When you have a craving for a food that contains flour, you need to consider using rice, coconut or almond flour instead. These will help you to eat the foods you crave without the worry of eating gluten. Breakfast is one of the most important meals to have each day, but it's very difficult for those on a gluten-free diet. You can use cornmeal for pancakes, chopped nuts instead of granola on your yogurt, grits instead of oatmeal, or even a gluten-free cereal. All of these will give you plenty of quick and easy breakfast ideas to consider. Although it's important to remember, even though you must eat gluten-free foods, it doesn't mean you can't have anything nice. It just means you must be smart about what you eat and how it's made. It's very important to pay attention to what you're eating, and if it's at all possible, you must consider making it yourself using these alternative ingredients. At least this way you'll know what you're eating is safe, so you don't have to worry about the possible side effects if you miss an ingredient that contains gluten. Hope you found this video to be both helpful and informative. If you liked the video and the content, give it a like and subscribe to my channel. It would be very much appreciated. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Why not visit www.justnogluten.com